prayer is important. And do you want to share, dear, or should I? I view praying for our missionaries, like a deep sea diver that has that oxygen tube up to the ship. And as long as they have oxygen, they're doing okay. But you've seen the movies, something comes and cuts the oxygen line, and they're in trouble. The missionaries, we send them out, and they're in that window where Christians are killed, persecuted. But our prayer is the oxygen line. Our encouragement is the oxygen line. Oh, by the way, I don't think we told you this. We didn't tell the other two services. Oh, boy, we're in trouble. The missionaries wanted $20,000 for their used vehicle when they go back. So did they share? So over 5,500 has come in, which I was like, yeah. So I was pretty excited. So my wife one day was witnessing to a woman in the hospital with an oxygen line. And she was leading this woman to the Lord. She did not have long to live. And so this woman's listening attentively. My wife moves up her chair, not realizing she put her chair on the woman's oxygen line. This was after, you led her to the Lord already. So you were just sending her home to heaven. You were sending her home to heaven. So this woman's going, and she's raising her hand like I'm not getting oxygen, but my wife thought she was praising the Lord now that she's saved. Now listen, the only reason we can share this story with you is my wife figured it out. Took the chair off, and she could breathe a little bit more. I know. The true stories. We didn't laugh about it for the first 5 years. This probably happened about 10 years ago. So, but I'm telling you, I know there have been times in my life, whether it was in school, college, raising kids, that I kept things to myself, the struggles I was going under in my life. Whether it was depression, anxiety, school tests, dating, you name it. When I kept it to myself, I was like the chair on the oxygen. I felt like I was drowning. But I discovered, that's why we open up the altar every single week. See, the church that 40 years ago, where I met my wife, they opened the altar every week. That's where I learned that from. And I learned that if I kept it to myself, I always felt like I was drowning. But when I came forward and shared, I knew that then the elders who prayed for me knew about my situation. And they would continue to pray for me. And it was like the oxygen started flowing. I cannot tell you what a difference it would make in my life when instead of holding it inside, I shared it with the right people who I knew were prayer warriors, that the oxygen of spiritual life would flow again in my life, and it would so help me. And I know we're very prideful, and we're like, I'm hurting, I'm struggling, but I don't want anyone to know, but I'm telling you, when you share with people and they start praying for you, the spiritual oxygen starts flowing again.